Hello, everyone. Good afternoon here from Brazil. It seems to be my Switzerland house, but it's not just a paper, a virtual paper, wallpaper. It's very good to be here. Um, Fatec from São Paulo State in this moment to welcome all of you to our international webinar. Today, our first international webinar, we have the fantastic study about the impact of signature events on destination growth and development in South Africa. Insights, of course, for our region, Presidente Prudente, and São Paulo State as a completely state. We are truly honored to bring together brilliant minds from Brazil and South Africa, from USP, UNESP. This collaboration, connection, very good. And for this important conversation on how events can drive sustainable regional development and enhance destination branding. Today we have three professors. Let me start by introducing our esteemed international guest speak. Dr. Hugh Bartis is a principal lecturer in the tourism department at Nelson Mandela University. Since 1999 until 2015, he was head of tourism department at this institution. Just a pause here. Sometimes I'll talk in English, sometimes I'll talk in Portuguese, okay? My English is more or less, I have to practice more. During this period, Professor Hugh, he played a key role in developing and offering new tourism programs for undergraduate and to postgraduate level at Nelson Mandela University. He has extensive curriculum. Hugh has also served as non-executive director of the Eastern Cape Tourism Board. He's a former board member of Southern Africa Tourism Service Association and previous SETSA chapter chair for the Eastern Cape Province. In addition, he has also served as non-executive director and chairman of Nelson Mandela Bay Tourism. In 2013, he was also appointed by the Minister of Tourism to serve as a member of the National Tourism Research Expert Forum. Hugh lectures on the undergraduate and postgraduate tourism programs at Nelson Mandela University and also supervises postgraduate students. Very good to have you here, Professor Bartis. It's very good. It's really bad to not be together physically, if I can speak in this point of view. But we are here together in connections, in energy, and collaboration of knowledge. Very good to have you here, Professor.
Thank you very much. It's good to be with you and to be able to exchange ideas across the Atlantic Ocean whilst being in South Africa. So COVID has taught us that there are other ways and means of doing things when you are not able to be together physically.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I'll come back. De nada. You're very welcome. I'll introduce Professora Doutora Renata Ribeiro. Professora Renata holds a bachelor degree in tourism from the Federal University of Paraná, as well as a master's and PhD in geography from the same institution, with a specialization in urban and regional planning. She's currently an assistant professor at São Paulo State University, where she teaches in the tourism program at the School of Architecture, Arts and Communication. Her academic and professional works focus on territorial planning and tourism, urban tourism, public policies, hospitality, and municipal tourism development strategies. She has coordinated several municipal tourism development master plans, including those for Panorama, Pirapozinho, Salmourão in the state of São Paulo and other cities. With her strong background in geography and public policies, she brings a valuable perspective on how tourism can be integrated into sustainable territory development. Muito bom tê-la aqui conosco, professora doutora Renata, por ter aceito o convite. Mais uma referência para nós aí no turismo do estado de São Paulo e do Brasil. Thank you very much.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Very good.
Prazer
Very good.
estar aqui com todos vocês.
Very good. And we also have Professor Edegar Tomazzoni, Professor Associate Professor, Livre Docente, as we say in Brazil, at the University of São Paulo, based at the School of Arts, Sciences and Humanities, EASH para os amigos. He teaches in the graduate program in tourism, PPGTUR, both at the master's and PhD levels and in the undergraduate program in leisure and tourism. He holds a PhD in communication science with a focus on tourism and regional development from the School of Communications and Arts, ECA, at USP 2007, and master degrees in tourism from the University of Caxias do Sul, 2002, and a bachelor degrees at chemical engineering from the Pontifical Catholic University of the Rio Grande do Sul, PUC Rio Grande do Sul. The extensive, I'll resume, okay? He's an organizational consulting specializing in the innovation of tourism products, attractions, and services, as well as in regional socioeconomic development. He previously served as a core faculty member in the master programs at UCS and was coordination of the EASH USP Programa de Pós-Graduação from 2018 to 2019. He also led the research projects for Brazil National Program for Tourism Qualification in the northern coast of São Paulo and the city of São Paulo. Currently, he coordinates the program, the Tourism Observatory of the Association of Municipalities of Tourism Interest in the state of São Paulo, AMITESP. Very good to have you here, Professor Edegar.
Thank you very much, Yuri.
Very, very good, very good. And me, I'm professor at Fatec, Presidente Prudente. I'm specialized in hospitality, public management, and regional development. My PhD is also from USP, as Professor Edegar. My contributions connect local education effort with global perspectives, innovation on territorial engagement. Okay, guys, we'll begin with Professor Bartis, okay, who will have up to 15 minutes for his presentation. After that, we will open for comments and reflections from Professor Renata and Professor Edegar, okay? During the presentations, feel free to send questions and comments through the YouTube live chat. We'll address them right after Professor Bart's talk during the discussion segments, okay? Our expectation, it's good to say, is that the webinar will last more or less no more than 1 hour. We want to ensure a dynamic and insightful discussions respecting the time and availability of all participants and attendees. Thank you for being with us, and vambora, as we say in Portuguese. Let's start, okay? Professor, it's with you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yuri. Are you able to see my screen?
Let's see. Mauricio, he can open the presentation?
Okay.
Yes.
I think I've somehow lost you.
Ok, I'm here. Maurício, tá por aí? Eu acho que deu. A produção deu certo? Professor, Professor, you have to open lá no, in the present. Did you see?
Will you try and open the presentation?
Ele tem que compartilhar a tela dele.
Tá. Just a minute. Yes. When you go here down in the screen, Professor.
Yeah.
Apresentar in Portuguese. I don't know if the StreamYard, your StreamYard is in English. Yes. Let's try it.
Okay.
He's open. No problem. No rush.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Okay, I don't know why it's taking me to that.
No problem. Okay. Yes. Now it's working.
Is it working?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm getting a bit of an echo here. I don't know about your stuff.
Yes. Perfect. You can go, Professor. You can start.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I think it's wonderful to share ideas with you across the Atlantic and in Brazil. I think what's also wonderful is that this is a second opportunity for Prof. Yuri and I to connect, having first met in London in November. Title of my presentation is the impact of signature events on destination growth and development in South Africa. All right, let's stop here on the first slide. Yuri, are you guys able to forward on the slide?
Minutes. Peraí. Just a minute, Professor. Let me see what's happening. Maurício.
Mano, eu consigo passar por aqui. Se ele preferir, só ele pedir next e eu vou passando.
Maurício told me he can goes doing for you if you want.
Okay, yeah, please.
I think it's better. Maurício is excellent. It's helping us. Maurício, can you try to do the presentation? Yeah, perfect.
All right. So I think first of all, it's important to understand what a signature event is, and hence signature sporting events are defined as prestigious and noteworthy sporting competition. In this regard, they would attract a large audience. They would generate significant economic impact and also contribute towards destination development and growth. Sometimes signature events are described as hallmark events, meaning that they are iconic and create a very strong impression. Such events can be major championships, high-profile events, or international competitions. And examples include World Cup sporting events, endurance events, and a few others. Next. I just thought I'd share with you the Africa Ironman, a very short video clip. So if Maurice can just get that going, it'll be great. I think there should be a start button at the bottom of the video clip. Is there a start button at the bottom, Maurice? Right. So what I was hoping to share with you there was a video clip of the Cape Town Cycle Tour and the Africa Ironman Championship. The latter being an endurance race which is hosted in our municipality. Now, as you all know, the tourism sector is highly complex and dynamic, comprising of different types to cater to different tourists, which further improves the economic, social, and environmental dimensions of destination. Studying the different types of tourism to understand the reasons why people travel and the impact of tourism on destinations are very important. And as a result, the purpose of this presentation is to explore the impact of signature events on destination growth and development in South Africa. Next. So the methodology that we followed here is to use a qualitative research approach, which is essentially a desktop study. And this involved the use of secondary data, which was collected and produced by other researchers and utilized for different purposes. The inclusion criteria and keywords in tourism, sport tourism, destination development, and destination growth. The secondary data sources that were utilized were journal articles, books, newspapers, industry reports, theses, and dissertations. Next. And in as far as the findings and the discussions are concerned, signature events in South Africa literally boost tourism and the economy through increased spending on accommodation, dining, local attractions, and benefiting the hospitality sector generally. Signature events also foster social cohesion, community health, fitness, cultural exchange, and charitable initiatives, while contributing to nation building and enhances the visibility of local communities. By attracting a large number of attendees, these events also promote the respective destinations as sport tourism destinations, generate employment, enhancing local economic growth. Examples of signature events would be Ironman Africa, Nelson Mandela Bay, which generates significant revenue and also supports local charities, which is critical, benefits disadvantaged communities. And here we're referring to socially and economically disadvantaged communities, whilst at the same time promoting cultural pride. Next. As for the conclusion, I think one can acknowledge that signature events impact host destination socio-economic development by attracting international athletes and their families, boosting the local economies, and generating valuable media exposure. It is this media exposure or the coverage of signature events tend to highlight destination visibility globally. And so what really happens here is that key tourist attractions at a destination are lighted before, during, or after these signature events. And of course, that's an opportunity for the international viewers to see what a destination has to offer from a tourism perspective. Signature events also foster community pride and strengthens the community identity. This in turn can promote social cohesion and contribute to nation building, bringing together diverse communities as spectators to support the athletes. Signature events can create legacy initiatives as well and contribute towards community upliftment and on occasion or at times also contribute towards infrastructural needs of what is required in the community. So whilst the attention is always on the economic benefits, there are also non-economic benefits that we need to acknowledge. Consequently, studies should also explore the non-monetary contribution of signature events, especially in nation building, which is important for countries with diverse ethnic groupings, and government should further support such events to promote destination development and at the same time try and grow the domestic market. Thank you. Next. And just to acknowledge, my graduate assistant, Masibulele, who's a master student, has assisted in putting together the presentation, accessing some of the materials. And then also I want to acknowledge the visuals, Time and Cape Town Cycle Tour. Thank you very much, you all.
Very good, Professor. Very straight in the presentation. Very good. It's good to discuss about it. Maurício, se você quiser colocar a professora Renata e o professor Edegar aqui, a gente faz uma discussão e depois a gente vai para os trabalhos deles. Yes, perfect. Would you like to make quickly discussions about professors' points about signature events? I think it's good, maybe, or would like to presentate and go to final discussion? Acho que o microfone está desligado. I would like to ask some, I was writing here some questions, Professor, may I? Because I'm trying to, I'm thinking about my students' expectations and how we can connect our knowledge and contributions to each other, okay? For me, the concept signature events is different, very similar than others are making interchangeably. I don't know the word, but signature events and hallmark events is the same, more or less. There is conceptual or practical difference between them.
Yes, they're very similar. There may be some differences, but for the purposes of this research, I have considered it to be conceptually the same.
Okay, and here at Fatec, we also are talking with our students about how an event can contribute. I think every city wants events because it contributes to destination development. But Professor Edegar, Professor Alexandre Panosso were talking sometimes, I was at USP, about the go home tourists, the over tourism, yes. And
Yes.
what do you think about the contribution of sporting events and the destination to development and this over tourism? Do you have over tourism at South Africa
At
in your
Africa?
city? Yes. It's a good question because in Brazil,
Yeah,
I don't know,
yes.
né, Renata? I don't know if I'm
Yes.
right, but we still in the beginning of the journey, you know, we want tourists. Every city, not every, but many city wants tourists, and we are, in my opinion, we are not so prepared to have these millions of tourists we would like to. What do you think about this contribution, but also the over tourism if you have in Africa? And what do you think about it?
Prof. Yuri, we are very fortunate at this stage not to have cities or regions which would fulfill all the requirements of being regions that are um, overrun tourists or where over tourism is prevalent. However, we do have um, some cities that become particularly crowded during your December, January peak periods and even beyond that. And because it's peak period, it actually drives prices up, and that contributes to your domestic tourists not being able to afford to go to those areas which have become congested or where there is a concentration of tourists over a particular holiday.
Okay.
So it's something that we're critically aware of, because naturally some destinations aim for the well-heeled tourist, the tourist with a lot of money in their pocket, and at the expense of the local or the domestic tourists. Our policies are exceptionally good because our government policies encourage tourism to the um, underdeveloped areas or to those areas which are not popular. And so you may find that when events are seeking sponsorship, they will get support from government much easier because they, in areas which are considered off the beaten track or in the rural areas to kind of stimulate those economies as well.
Okay.
Yes, yes, okay. Renata?
In Brazil, over tourism is not considered, but we are seeing the impact, but people not accept the rejection because people's need work tourism, and
Yes.
nothing studies declare the over tourism in Brazil.
Yes, that's true. That's
Yeah, I
true.
think we are very fortunate at this point in time that we don't have the challenges which our colleagues have in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, and
Yes.
other destinations, where they have had to, sell tickets, so to speak, to limit the influx of tourists on a daily basis.
Yes. I was thinking here, Professor, we have something in common. We had the World Cup, and Africa had it too. In our impression, we that study about tourism, I would like to hear from you what your impression about World Cup, in all the events and the endurance events, and their significant difference in the type of which what happened after the South Africa World Cup. In your opinion, it was good. And it still has benefits or problems about it from it. I would like to hear from you that lives South Africa.
All right. I think the one thing is that, our national soccer team is probably not as good as Brazil's. Let's acknowledge that.
Yes,
We've
yes,
got a lot to learn from Brazil. So, at the same time, if one was to ask whether the 2010 Soccer World Cup had a good, lasting impact on South Africa, the response to that would be absolutely yes. It was a success simply because we needed to focus the attention on South Africa and what South Africa had to offer to international tourists. And we used the Soccer World Cup as a platform. You'll also recall that at the time, the European media, I won't mention which country, casted South Africa in a very, very negative light. And during the World Cup, the worst incident that we had was a famous entertainer who was caught for smoking data at the stadium. That was the worst incident which we had during the 2010 World Cup. In terms of the lasting legacy, yes, we have the physical stadia, which are still being utilized. And I think globally it's a challenge because, those mega infrastructural facilities need to be maintained.
yes.
And for a developing country like South Africa, it's costly. And in some cities, in Cape Town, they have been able to, maintain those stadia very well. They have been able to attract international events and retain the focus on the city and hence the destination. In other cities, for instance, they've not been that fortunate to attract multiple events to contribute towards, the maintenance of those facilities. But I think it's an international challenge. I
Yes,
think
it
you
is.
have similar challenges
Yes.
in Brazil
Even
as elsewhere.
yes, yes, yes.
Are people is qualified to work in these sporting events, Professor?
Sorry, Prof. Nana, can you just repeat yourself?
Are people qualified to work in these sporting events?
Yes. Yes, they are qualified to work in those environments. And what often happens is that if a particular need is identified, then they could offer short learning programs to ensure that whoever's going to be involved is sufficiently upskilled.
Oh yeah.
I think the nature of sport events is that you need a cross section of skills, from hospitality, catering, right down to health services and so on. And a short answer would be yes, we do have the requisite skills in that particular area or
Very
those
good.
particular areas.
Very good. The contribution of sporting events in Africa is interesting. This was driven by World Cup.
Yes, I think one should also, take into account South Africa's history, because up until the early 90s, the country didn't host international events. And that's primarily because we didn't have a democratic country prior to 1994.
Okay.
So the first legitimate World Cup that we've had was the 1995 World Rugby Cup.
Yes.
And that did absolute wonders for South Africa, because just prior to that, we had the first democratic elections in 1994. And prior to those democratic elections, globally, South Africa was seen as a country that ought not to be visited because we had internal political challenges.
Yes.
But when Nelson Mandela became the president in 1994, he absolutely embraced and invited international visitors to the country. And the 1995 World Rugby was a brilliant example, of how the nation as a whole, despite our various ethnic groups, could harness their energies and put their support, towards the national rugby team.
Very good. It's a very different context from us. The challenge seems to be the same in some cases, but the political context is different. Okay, Professor Renata, would you like to do your presentation, or would like to? Yes. Okay. So let's hear Professor Renata, and after we will try to link with Professor Edegar and make a conclusion. If you let me, I'll go until 7 o'clock here in Brazil. I really like this subject. Professor Renata, your phone? Yes, perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
really? Sorry, one minute, please.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. My English is not very well. And speaking Portuguese, please. Thank you.
You can go.
Eu vou falar um pouquinho sobre a nossa região em Presidente Prudente, para situar, né, o Dr. Hugh Bartis na nossa localidade, como a gente, qual é a nossa visão aqui, qual a nossa realidade. Está aparecendo a segunda tela? Introduction, ok? Ok? Eu acho que eu saí. Está aparecendo eu aí? Não.
Sim, está aparecendo o senhor e a tela.
Ah, tá.
Só se a senhora puder colocar em tela inteira.
É estranho isso. Porque para mim está aparecendo a tela como um todo. Deixa eu ver aqui. Deixa eu ver aqui. Vamos ver. Não estou conseguindo ativar, desativar câmera. Não está aparecendo, né? Eu não estou conseguindo falar com vocês aí.
Para a gente está aparecendo a senhora e a sua tela. Só não está em tela inteira.
Então, não estou conseguindo colocar em tela inteira. Deixa eu ver aqui. Parar, próxima, ampliar slide. Vamos ver. Não, né?
Não. Eu creio que colocando em tela inteira, aí a senhora vai... Para a senhora aí só vai aparecer os slides, mas é normal, para a gente está normal.
É que eu estou com duas telas, uma está com duas telas e a outra está com a tela inteira, por isso que eu estou achando estranho.
Entendi.
Aqui para mim tem uma tela que está inteira.
Para a gente está a tela do PowerPoint mesmo.
Deixa eu ver aqui o que eu faço. Mostrar barra, exibir configurações, duplicar a apresentação. E agora? Deu?
Continua como estava.
Ah, mas dá para ver?
Creio que sim.
É? Bom, então, na minha área de planejamento e turismo, dentro da área de turismo, né, eu trabalho muito com hospitalidade, eventos, mas na linha de planejamento urbano e turístico. Eventos entra numa linha, né, de grande perspectiva na questão da necessidade da infraestrutura para que grandes eventos aconteçam e tenham aí a possibilidade de se desenvolverem ou até mesmo serem receptivos nas regiões, né. Situando a nossa região, né, a região do Pontal do Paranapanema, nós temos 32 cidades. A nossa região tem uma característica de eventos sociais, incluindo shows, rodeios e festivais regionais, né? A maioria deles subsidiado por prefeituras, estado, né, governos em geral, e a maioria deles são gratuitos para a população, né? E a gente tem aí uma população regional atendida nesses eventos. Nós estamos distante de São Paulo, né? Então, região metropolitana de São Paulo, Presidente Prudente em torno de 550 até 600 quilômetros, dependendo, né, da estrada que você faz. Estamos no extremo oeste do estado de São Paulo, né? Essa região aqui, então, congrega aí 32 municípios, e a maioria deles tem esses eventos, né, que eu já havia comentado. Aqui nossa região, Presidente Prudente, né, para situar. Aqui nós temos Paranapanema River, né, Paraná River, né, o Rio Paraná e o Rio Paranapanema, que são grandes rios da nossa região, né. E as características físicas dos eventos, né, a maioria deles são shows e rodeios, então com uma população regional que aprecia essas atividades, né, então são grandes espaços já organizados, prontos para receber esses eventos, e a cada ano, né, todas as cidades praticamente realizam esses eventos. Sabemos hoje que há algumas limitações para rodeios, né, eles seguem um rígido padrão de controle em relação aos direitos dos animais, né, a questão da proteção dos animais também. Em alguns momentos a gente tem algumas situações constrangedoras, né, em relação a isso, porque precisamos sempre estar atentos, né, a essas normas, né, para que o show aconteça e não haja nenhum problema em relação aos animais que estão envolvidos nessas festas. Aqui também na nossa região nós temos o turismo religioso, né, que congrega um número grande de pessoas, né, no município de Santo Expedito, né, então o santo da Igreja Católica, né, é bastante devocionado na região. Aqui a gente tem já uma demanda um pouco mais reativa, não só regional, mas também nacional, né. Temos festas características, né, festa junina, que são festas culturais, né, também que congregam shows, principalmente de música sertaneja, né, country music. Então, acontece uma vez por ano e já é característico, né, já está no calendário da região, dentro dessa perspectiva cultural. Sandovalina também, né, tem uma característica de shows e rodeio. Em alguns momentos esses shows são questionados, né, por questão de Ministério Público, por conta da instrução e da questão financeira, né, porque eles são financiados muitas vezes por municípios, e há todo um questionamento em relação a esses custos, mas geralmente eles acontecem uma vez por ano, e são planejados pelos municípios, com recursos do governo do estado, às vezes do município também, né. A gente tem algumas considerações em relação a esses eventos, né. A estimativa de algumas cidades é em torno de 10.000 pessoas em cada evento, de 7 a 10.000 pessoas, né, em torno em todos os dias do evento. A maioria da audiência, né, das pessoas que visitam, que realizam ou que vão nesses eventos, são pessoas jovens e residentes da região, né, em torno de 60, 80 quilômetros em relação a onde o evento está acontecendo. Nós temos uma ocupação hoteleira satisfatória, apesar de que na região a oferta de hotéis em várias cidades ela é insuficiente para atender essas pessoas, então ela não serve 100%, né, dos participantes dos eventos, porque ela não tem também essa capacidade, né. E a estrutura física, como lojas, alimentação, né, praça de alimentação, geralmente são empresas de fora que são contratadas juntamente com as empresas do rodeio para fazerem toda a parte de praça de alimentação dos eventos. Isso causa um pouco de estranhamento na questão econômica, porque temos pouca aderência, né, e retenção de recursos no próprio município, né. Então, geralmente as empresas, elas vêm, montam as suas barracas e no final do evento elas vão embora. Essa é uma situação bastante complexa, que precisa ser trabalhada, né, e estudada em relação a qual é a fixação financeira e econômica que os eventos geram para esses municípios, né. Há poucos estudos, principalmente nas cidades menores. Presidente Prudente já tem uma realidade mais pujante em relação à economia, já existem estudos em relação a esse impacto desses eventos em Presidente Prudente, mas em municípios pequenos esse estudo ainda não existe de forma bastante detalhada, né. A gente tem uma reflexão importante para fazer nesse contexto, que mesmo que hajam vários eventos nessa região, que esses eventos tragam uma população flutuante aí de 5 a 10.000 pessoas, tendo cursos de turismo, né, tanto na Fatec quanto na UNESP, que são estruturas de educação, né, faculdades e universidades da região que podem atender a capacitação, existe uma demanda pequena ainda de pessoas que tenham interesse em manter, né, o seu estudo ou trabalhar nessa área de eventos. Então, nós temos pouca aderência de jovens trabalhando, estudando, né, e também trabalhando nessas áreas de eventos, uma vez que eles são basicamente realizados uma vez por ano, e muita dessa estrutura é realizada ou vem, né, de empresas externas a essa região, a esses municípios. Então, o impacto financeiro, econômico, de empregabilidade, ainda precisa ser estudado para que possamos fazer um diagnóstico da importância desses eventos, né, e da virtualização que esses eventos possam trazer para a população da região de Presidente Prudente, né. Então eu agradeço, seria mais isso, né, que eu gostaria de falar. É importante a gente observar a diferença, né, dos eventos esportivos e eventos internacionais que acontecem na África do Sul, referente à nossa região, que já é uma região de interior e que tem algumas limitações em relação até a infraestruturas para trazer grandes eventos e até eventos de porte internacional, né. Então seria isso, obrigada.
Very good, professora Renata. I
Deixa eu
think,
tirar
okay.
agora.
I was thinking here, Maurício, se você quiser colocar o professor Hugh, o professor Edegar aqui para mais uma conversa. Excellent. I was thinking here, hearing professora Renata, Professor Hugh, I don't know if you understand everything, but I think you tried.
I tried, but I couldn't understand everything. I have an idea. Thank you.
Would you like to ask something to Professor Renata or Professor Edegar?
Yes. So I get the impression that each municipality would need to have a tourism development plan.
Sim. In Presidente Prudente e in others municipalities, we have a tourism plan, but the government governs não tem continuidade, don't have continuation. The public politics.
Okay. Did you understand, Professor?
Yes, thank you. I understood.
I was thinking here, Professor Renata and Professor Hugh, many Brazilian students and researchers in graduate and postgraduate academic studies, they always not always, but often they seek inspiration from European methodologies and case studies, trying to reply these studies. However, countries like South Africa, to me, and others global South may actually share more socio-economic, cultural, and development similarities with regions in Brazil as Presidente Prudente. These commonalities, I think these words, can offer more meaningful insights and practical applications because of this similarity with the sociocultural and cultural development stage. I think this is the main idea of this international webinar. What kinds of initiatives or maybe projects, Professor Hugh and Professor Renata and Edegar, do you think we could develop together to connect our regions in a, how can I say, a meaningful way, you know, because many students they want to the development a study very very great, but they don't connect to other studies, a simple studies that can be really strong, you know. What do you think about it, Professor? What could we do together to learn more with other, not only with South Africa, but also with countries that has the similarity to Brazil and other countries from the South global part?
É verdade. Opa.
Professor Hugh?
I think you're raising a very important thing here. And we need to look at what the Global South has to offer and what it's doing. And if I look at the municipal development plan that Prof. Renata made reference to, the closest equivalent policy document that we have at a local level, would of course be the Integrated Development Plan, what we refer to as the IDP, which each municipality must have, and it is revised on an annual basis. And very often the tourism content in there is so limited that it ends up being actually meaningless. And then, of course, municipalities would have a strategic plan. In some cases, municipalities don't even have that. And then, of course, municipalities would also have a tourism master plan. And a tourism master plan is a more, visionary, long-term policy document.
But Professor, many cities that they don't have a municipal plan, and when they have, they don't follow it. There is a distance between the theoretical and practical strategies and actions. I was here at Prudente, Secretary of Tourism and Culture, and the how can I say in English? Really, there is a huge distance between what the municipal governments do and what is in the plan. I would like to know if other countries or other developed cities they have. But I was thinking here about our talk about over tourism. We are in a different stage. That's why I talk about maybe we have more connection with South Africa and other countries, because we are more or less at the same stage than European cities. So we have to learn. We have to hear and see what happened to Barcelona, Paris, Roma, and maybe in 20, 30 years, we are better planned than what happened to them.
There is no continuity.
Yes. It's only for 4 years, isn't it, Renata? The government has policies for 4 years. A mysterious way of thinking. Okay.
Our municipalities is young.
Yes.
In Brazil, in region Pontal do Paranapanema.
That's true. Professor Edegar, would like to do your presentation, or would like to only to talk? It's up to you.
I'm gonna mix just some comments.
Okay, perfect.
Comments, and I would say that trying to inspire myself with the presentation by the Professor Hugh and the presentation by the Professor your colleague, the Professor Renata, sorry. I would say that it's a very deep and large subject to explore. And while I listen you and the colleagues talking, I traveled all over Brazil from the south to the north, and I made mentally an overview on the calendar and thinking about the classification of the many events we have in Brazil, such as the sport, as the Professor Hugh emphasized, due to the experience of South America and the festival, the cultural festivals, in the religious celebrations, and so on. And Renata presented an example that represents, illustrating a small region in São Paulo, represents in many aspects the reality of Brazil. In terms of, for example, what the professor emphasized, the lack of planning. Even though we have in Brazil many experience, I would say impressive experience, because my city, I'm from Caxias do Sul, Rio Grande do Sul, Serra Gaúcha, south of Brazil, and when I lived there, I lived there for a long time, and I'm living in São Paulo. Since 2011, 14 years. And I still don't know enough to talk about, to analyze, but I would say, for example, the reality of São Paulo, the interior of the state. We discussed in the meetings, em função, como se diz, due to the challenge of planning, developing tourism in many destinations. And one question is, what are really the tourist events in the many regions of the São Paulo state, for example? Because many events attract, as Renata showed, the majority of the people of the own region near. And the question is, what should be done to attract more tourists? Once this is the necessity, in spite of the risk of over-tourism, because many destinations are still potential destinations, not tourist destination, in fact. And events are a strong strategy to go ahead in terms of the definition the Professor Hugh explaining, signature events that involve the image of the destination, the self-esteem of the local community, the cooperation between the local government and the private sector and the tour operators and so on. And going back to the reality of Brazil, and linking it to the field of education, the challenges we have, as Renata said, we have a great variety of events, such as great festivals, Christmas festival, Carnival, and Réveillon, and these events in some places, in some regions, are more or less recent, but in other they have decades tradition. Even though the most young events already created a very important impact. I remember the example, I don't know if you heard about Guararema, near here to São Paulo City, canceled the Christmas festival last year or the other year. And the local community reacted very strongly against, because it would cause a loss of business. Okay, these are some comments. I'm not não estou aprofundando, apenas fazendo assim alguns comentários. Some comments. Yuri, please go
very
ahead.
Good, very complete comments, Professor. It shows, it again shows the similarities of Brazil and the possibilities of connections and the possibilities of learning from other countries. Yes, Brazil, as you said in the beginning of your speech, Brazil has potential. Is the country of potential. It still is the country of potential. Of course, it's a great economy in the world, okay? But in tourism, I studied tourism only for 20 years. Professor Renata, I won't say how much years because she will be angry with me, but I know she studied since 1993, so she studies a lot, much more than me. But Brazil is still seems to be in the beginning of the learning how to improve his huge potential as a continental country. In this point of view is really different from South Africa because we are so big in so many things to see, to learn, not only beaches and sun. We have a very strong culture. Professor Hugh, you've never been in Brazil, but you are invited to come, okay? To São Paulo to see Professor Edegar or Presidente Prudente here to meet the west of the São Paulo state. Very good, Professor Edegar. I really like your complete panorama of the possibilities. That's why it's really good to have many people or different people talking about the subject, because you learn from a different perspective. Very good, very good. Someone else would like to talk? We are with 1 hour and 10 minutes. Mauricio, if you'd like, I will do here in Brazil. We call a word, Professor, we call jabá. Jabá is a kind of a moment that we talk about our institution. So Mauricio was really fast. I'll talk in Portuguese, ok? Nós estamos com o nosso vestibular da Fatec aberto. Professora Renata, professora Edegar, querem divulgar também. Eu sei que vocês são da mesma área, com outros cursos de turismo. Mas estão abertas aí o nosso vestibular da Fatec. Fazer o jabazinho aqui até o dia 6/6, vestibular.fatec.sp.gov.br. We have, I saw 90 persons watching it live, so it's good. but we'll send it to our students to then reflect with them in our classes. It's a beginning, it's the first one, okay? Someone else would like to talk more? Professor Edegar, I don't know if you'd like to make a presentation or only talk. It's up to you.
No, I'm not gonna make a presentation.
Okay. I really like this kind of talk, that I talk, another talk, because it's good to see different points of view. After that, I'll make, I was, how can I say, I was writing here some phrases from our meeting. I'll send to you a complete resume from our conversation, okay? And maybe some ideas to the future, to strong connections we can do together, okay? Professor Hugh, you would like to close, and Professor Renata would like to close the ideas and this webinar?
Yes, thank you, Prof. Yuri. Once again, thank you for the invitation. It's been wonderful engaging with you. I think certainly from a tourism perspective, and may I also add other disciplines, there is a lot of similarity between Brazil and South Africa. Both are developing countries. We're both in the global south. We both have similar social, political challenges. So I see no reason why we shouldn't explore collaboration, more so as part of the BRICS countries. And we're relatively close to each other, other than the Atlantic Ocean separating us. So perhaps going forward, we need to look at those research opportunities where we can all, collaboratively and mutually push the boundaries and learn from each other, because there are definitely commonalities. When I think of Cape Town, Rio de Janeiro comes to mind. And I'm sure likewise, when you think of Rio de Janeiro, Cape Town comes to mind. But it's not only about Rio, and it's not only about Cape Town. There are other research initiatives that we could explore as well going forward, where we can mutually benefit from those initiatives. So thank you very much, and it's been most wonderful meeting Prof. Renata and Prof. Edegar. It's been wonderful. Thank you very much, and thank you to Yuri for putting together this webinar.
Very good, very good. We are truly grateful for the opportunity to host you, Professor Hugh. Professor Renata would like to talk something to close the ideas in this moment. Acho que the mic, no problem. It always happens to me.
Okay. I would like to thank you for the opportunity. It's great to be with you.
Very good, very good. Professor Edegar.
Thank you very much. I'm very glad to be here, to have this opportunity, and to know the Professor Hugh. Thank you very much. Congratulations. I hope to see you in Brazil, and who knows, in South Africa. And thank you very much, Yuri. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
See you, Renata.
Okay.
Congratulations. we reflect a lot, in 1 hour, but a lot on the similarity, the parallels between Brazil and South Africa. Let this be not the end of our conversation, but the beginning of a partnership, connections.
Yes.
There's so much we can do together, and with other professors from Fatec, UNESP, USP, and Nelson Mandela University. And for all the audience, everybody was hearing us. Thank you all for being part of this important dialogue. But this is only the beginning. and we will do a lot together. Thank you very much, Professor Hugh, Renata, Edegar.
Thank you.
See you very soon, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much. Adios.
Bye-bye.
Adios. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.
Bye-bye.